Close the Hatch is a doom post-metal band from Dayton, Ohio. If you're a fan of doomy riffs and ethereal atmospheric vibes, you'll want to check out Close the Hatch. For music, merch, and tour dates, go to closethehatch.com. And you can find them on social media at Close the Hatch. Close the Hatch is a proud sponsor and patron of Necronomipod. Now that we've discussed the story of the Zodiac Killer's murders and the letters he sent to the press and the police, today we'll look at the prime suspects investigated by police as possibly being the Zodiac Killer. We'll look at the evidence for and against each of them, and we'll provide our own thoughts on who we think the Zodiac Killer might be. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you thought Zodiac Part 1 was terrifying, stick around. Part 2 is going to be... Oh, how the fuck do I know how this is going to be? Just crack a beer and start listening. This is Necronomipod.
Andrea Borba joins us from the newsroom with the decades-old evidence getting new attention tonight. Andrea?
Well, Ken Elizabeth, the Zodiac Killer, is responsible for at least 5 murders in the late 60s and early 70s. Tonight, the case that was considered all but unsolvable may have new legs. The Zodiac Killer, whose killing spree and ciphers around the Bay Area draw worldwide attention to this day, may be weeks away from being unmasked. The Sacramento Bee reports that Vallejo police have submitted letters and envelopes from the Zodiac Killer to a private lab to obtain a DNA profile. The hope that those envelopes he licked closed years ago might be the final piece to crack the case.
Fuck one. Marry one, kill one. Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, George Clooney.
Interesting.
You guys are deep in thought.
Wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't either.
It's your signature game, though. No.
I love this game. I love throwing out these curveballs at you guys. I love throwing out these balls at you guys.
And just so everybody knows, this is something that we've done for a long time. Just hanging out before the podcast.
We used to do this all the time. Yeah, we would spend hours playing this game.
Drink a shit ton of beers and just come
guys
up with,
and girls and all the fun stuff.
What if we could do a sub show of just this?
We could absolutely do it. That'd be fun. Let's not change the subject, boys. You have Brad Pitt,
stall and get some more time to
Johnny
think.
Depp, and George Clooney. You can fuck one, you can marry one, and you got to kill one.
I am ready to answer your question.
Yeah, so am I. I got mine.
Well, whoever wants to go.
You can go.
I will kill Johnny Depp because I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
I will F Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And then I will marry George Clooney because he seems like he has a pretty entertaining life.
Okay.
Same thing.
That's a sweep because I'm the same as well.
Damn.
That's the first time I think ever we've swept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Johnny Depp's a little weird, kooky. Looks like he might smell a little bit. Fuck him.
He just doesn't seem like he would be very fun to hang out with.
Brad Pitt is a gorgeous man. If you're going to bang one of them, I'm going to bang Brad Pitt. And George Clooney just seems like a cool dude. I want to marry him.
Exactly right.
I want to spend my days with George Clooney.
He's got a cool villa in Italy and stuff. We could hang out on the boat.
See?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was hoping for some controversy.
Well, the next one I made with intent to try to, drive Dave almost suicidal here with his thoughts.
Man.
We'll see. Maybe I underestimated, but we'll see.
All right.
Ian, I don't think you'll have to use your Google machine.
All right, good.
Dave, you can fuck one, marry one, and kill one. Ian, also you. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and Megan Good.
Oh, my God.
Well, I got to look up who Megan Good is. Hold on.
Oh, prepare for a feast of the eyeballs, my friend. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and Megan Good. F, marry, kill.
I don't even know what to say.
I got mine.
Go ahead.
Already. Kill Nicki Minaj, F Megan Good, and marry Rihanna.
Okay.
You have to marry Rihanna. That's not even...
Why?
Just...
You're not going to love my answer.
I think Rihanna is gorgeous.
I mean, if you're into aliens, which you are. I'll go next since Dave needs time. I'm killing Rihanna. I'm effing Nicki Minaj, and I'm marrying Megan Good. What did you effed Megan Good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just switched I guess we switched all of them. We were not the same on any of them. Dave is struggling. All right, we'll get to his at the end of the show.
As much as it pains me to say this, I'm going to have to kill Nicki Minaj. I can't even believe I'm saying this.
Oh, my gosh.
effing Rihanna. Of course I'm marrying Megan Good.
I don't disagree with that. She's fine as wine.
Stunning.
She's smoking hot.
I don't like that you made me kill Nicki Minaj, though.
I actually would have thought, I was going to guess that, I knew you loved Megan Good. I would have guessed you would have killed Rihanna. I thought you were going to have the same as me.
I could have went either way on that one.
Yeah. Nicki Minaj seems like she'd be a little freakier. But you killed her, so.
I could have went either way on that one.
He's going to be sleeping tonight.
I'm going to have tortured dreams tonight now.
He's going to be calling ghost to ghost next year. I woke up and I saw the ghost of Nicki Minaj, and she was mad at me.
Oh, man. I think in almost any scenario with women celebrities, I would probably marry Rihanna almost every time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like one of your top chicks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good to know. I'm going to remember that for future. I'm going to like compile, like
make it hard for me.
Quietly compile a list of like your 3 favorites and throw them at you like I did Dave. And then he's going to be like kicking himself all show that he killed Nicki Minaj.
Rihanna's good and all, but she's no Megan Good.
Boom. Megan Good is Megan Great. Wasn't that funny, guys? So anyway,
I'm laughing at Ian, laughing at you.
He about spit up over there. Oh, so last week we covered the story of the Zodiac, his killings, his alleged killings, his suspected killings, and all of the ciphers and the letters and the cards he sent to the media and the police.
Yep.
Today's episode is going to be focused solely on the suspects. Right.
And there's a bunch of suspects. There's a bunch that aren't even in the outline. I just went through which ones are out there the most.
Leading suspects, if you will.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. The first guy, his name is Lawrence Caine. He worked at the same Lake Tahoe hotel as Donna Lass, who disappeared in 1970 and was linked to a postcard that the Zodiac sent. And if we remember, that's the one where it said it alluded to a 12th victim.
Right.
And it was from the hotel that she worked at.
Where he kept upping the count, SFPD 0.
Right.
Yeah, he was like keeping score.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it said like sought victim 12 or something on there. So this guy worked at that same hotel. He served in the Naval Reserves where he might have learned coding that would have went along with how the ciphers were written. And in 1962, he had a car accident that left him with a brain injury that people have used to explain later troubles with the law that he had, because he seemed like a pretty straight arrow guy until he got in his car wreck. And I mean, there's tons of stories out there about when people get a real bad head injury, they just kind of like knock something loose.
Or they start speaking Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or you go really crazy and you kill Nicki Minaj in an F, Marry, Kill.
Don't people have traumatic brain injuries and they learn like crazy math skills they didn't have before, or foreign languages?
I mean, I've heard of that. I didn't know if that was that proven true?
I don't know.
I mean, I know that
I've
there's cases where it's like people, because you can have like I've seen studies where you can have like the brain chemistry for schizophrenia or bipolar disorder just sitting there, and then you get hit in the head, and next thing you know, it like exposes it. And so
also interesting.
Yeah.
So what were this guy's later crimes?
So he was arrested in 1962 for peeping, which I would assume is just looking in the window at girls, and then stalking
That's a crime?
Looking in the window at girls.
Shit.
Only if they catch you, am I right?
Guys, I might be going away for a little while.
That crime is really strange. Why? I don't understand what you really get out of that.
Peeping?
Just looking in the window. I mean, I guess the thrill, whatever. But
like the excitement of like you're not supposed to be doing it, I guess.
I guess.
Or if you see them changing or like fucking or something.
Depends what you're doing with your peeper while you're peeping.
I guess that's true too.
Yeah. It's just a strange.
But does that make I mean, that probably adds a crime. So is it illegal just to look in someone's window?
100%, yeah.
Even if you're standing on the sidewalk. Even if you're standing on the sidewalk, though.
Well,
no.
So like you have to be on their property, peeking in the window, and it doesn't matter if you're performing like a sexual act on yourself or not.
No, you would be.
I promise I'm not asking for clarification.
I know
for myself.
But you're going to catch a menacing charge if you stand on someone's sidewalk and just stare at their house all day.
I mean, none of it's all right.
Probably.
We're off to a great start here.
Moving on.
He was also arrested for stalking a woman in 1968. Darlene Farron, who was a victim of the Zodiac, her sister, her name was Linda, also identified a photo of Lawrence Caine as a man who had been harassing them in a restaurant that they were eating at.
So he's in Lake Tahoe next to one victim, and then they're placing him back in Vallejo at a restaurant with another victim?
Right, harassing this Darlene Farron and her sister.
Well,
right, Lawrence Caine, highly suspicious.
Very suspicious. A retired police detective investigating the case in the 1980s claimed that Lawrence Caine's name was embedded in one of the Zodiac ciphers. A San Francisco police officer who probably saw the Zodiac right after Paul Stein's taxi murder, because remember, that's the one where he wrote the letter afterwards saying, like, you guys thought it was a black guy.
Yeah, and he walked right by him.
Right. That police officer said that Lawrence Caine's photo was closer to any other likeness to anyone that night that he had seen. And then Kathleen Johns, who escaped from a man that was believed to be the Zodiac in Modesto in 1970, also identified Lawrence Caine as the abductor. And that's the one with her and her baby.
And they jumped out of the car.
Right.
And presumably she spent more time with him than anyone else. They were driving around. And
he was talking to her and threatening her.
He didn't have a mask on or anything.
That's a lot of witnesses and evidence.
Yeah. There's nothing solid ruling him out as a suspect.
So what ruled him in the first place? What
all
caused
this circumstantial witness?
So where did this go then with him?
Was it part of the actual investigation? Or is this just some side, sleuth trying to come up with
all of these guys or most of these people are like side things. There's only one guy we'll get to in a little bit here that was actually really like served a warrant.
Oh, so I guess that's probably important for us to point out then is these are just theories then that have come up since. None of these people were actually investigated.
Yeah, to the point of getting a warrant or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it must have been investigated at least to some point if they're showing people photos.
Yeah.
So,
but then I'm wondering, why would they not follow up on that?
That's a good question. I mean, if the victim's sister picked him, identified a photo of him, then somebody was showing. This isn't Caine from WWE, is it?
I wish. His real name's Glenn Jacobs, and he's the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
That's right.
6'10" mayor.
Well,
I believe he's a libertarian.
The other problem with Lawrence Caine too is he's dead. He died in 2010. So then that's going to be another running theme.
Yeah, most of these.
Wow, 50 years ago.
Most of these people, like Nicki Minaj, are dead.
I'm really feeling the pain.
That is not me saying Nicki Minaj is dead or that I want her to be dead. I would not rule that because me gusta.
I was watching a live Instagram feed from Nicki Minaj yesterday. I feel bad now.
I saw a movie recently that she was in with Cameron Diaz. The fuck was that movie? Anyways, Nicki Minaj was hilarious. She was really good in it. Yeah, I don't know. She's got a future in the acting business. Stick with it, kid. You might get famous one day.
We'll let her know. We'll pass along that.
Yeah. I'll pass along that advice. They're from a podcast superstar like myself.
Well, this is a pretty solid piece of circumstantial accumulated evidence here.
Yeah, there's a lot of circumstantial pointing to. And I mean, if you look at the picture of him, he looks like the guy, like the sketch.
What would Vince McMahon say right here, Ian? It's gotta be! That's gotta be Caine! That's gotta be Caine!
I was confused for a second.
You could take that out if that's not good. No one's gonna get that.
Good.
No one's gonna. Okay.
Then we'll move to the next guy. His name is Ross Sullivan. The 1966 murder of Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside had many similarities to the Zodiac killing. That was the one that was linked in 1969 from one of the Zodiac's communications where he brought up Riverside.
Yep.
Staffers at the Riverside college library near where Bates' body was found said Ross Sullivan had made them uncomfortable and disappeared for several days after the murder. Sullivan also wore his hair in a crew cut and had glasses similar to the composite sketch of the Zodiac. He had moved to Northern California in 1967 and was hospitalized several times for bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. He also wore an army jacket and military-style boots like the ones that left footprints at the Lake Berryessa stabbings. People who have researched and studied Zodiac letters note references to the opera The Mikado by Gilbert and Sullivan, which could be a reference to Sullivan's name. There's no solid evidence ruling him out as a suspect, but there's nothing great linking him to it either.
I think the Sullivan reference is a stretch.
It's a
That's
stretch.
a real big stretch.
Yeah.
But Ross kind of sounds like a serial killer name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it short for what? Like Rossington or Roswell? I just think the name Ross could be a serial killer.
Is Ross short for something, or is it just Ross?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I think it's just Ross.
The other thing that's kind of through some of this stuff is they point out like bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Like those aren't violent things, but back then,
Oh yeah.
that was like a go-to. But generally, statistically, they're not violent disorders. But
So he moved to Northern California in 67. I mean, are there any corroborating eyewitness accounts like the last guy putting him in direct contact with any of the Vallejo
no, it
victims?
just sounds like he was creeping people out at the library, and Sherry Jo Bates was killed there. But
It's light on facts, that one.
yeah, that one's not great.
But again, doesn't have any solid evidence ruling him out.
His name's Ross, though.
His name's, I guess we're going with that theme.
This next guy is like he's the one that you see that at least I saw the most when looking into stuff. This guy's name is Arthur Lee Allen. He was considered the prime suspect in Robert Graysmith's book, or in Robert Graysmith's books, one of which was the basis of the 2007 movie Zodiac. Allen was questioned by the police in 1969 and again in 1971 after a friend told authorities that Allen had talked about wanting to kill people and used a pencil flashlight attached to his gun like the Zodiac did.
And I thought he said he would call himself the Zodiac.
Yeah,
That was in the movie. That might have been a little embellishment, but
the movie did embellish a lot.
Yeah.
That kind of twisted things up. Allen wore a Zodiac brand watch and owned the same caliber gun used in one of the Zodiac shootings. And they did find bloody knives in his car, but he said that they were used for killing chickens. And I didn't even know that was like a brand of watch, but the face of his watch had the circle crosshair symbol on it.
yeah, I mean,
It's circumstantial. There's
a lot of tie-ins with this guy.
And unfortunately, there's no DNA evidence back then with these bloody knives. That they could have been like, yeah, we're just gonna
We'll
take
one of
those.
You're one of your chicken knives?
Right. He was dishonorably discharged from the Navy and had been fired from his job as a school teacher due to sexual misconduct allegations. And he was also ambidextrous, which some theorists say could have helped him in disguising his handwriting. Which maybe, I don't know. I don't know if you're ambidextrous, if it's different or.
That was a
Well, I guess
major.
it would look different from either hand, right?
Yeah, that was a big plot point in the movie. Whether if he's writing with his left hand, if that would confuse the handwriting analysis guys.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced of the whole handwriting analysis thing to begin with, though. Like their whole thing was that your handwriting style you learn when you're like 5 or 6, and you can't ever change it. You
Yeah, I
can
don't
change
believe in
how
that.
you write.
I don't
but
believe in that.
The basic structure of how you form letters doesn't change. Like, I don't buy that.
I think there's some things
You
like.
can easily change the way you write a letter. Like I can write a T upside down and backwards.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
getting
can write a
that.
B like where I make a circle and then put a line down. You know what I mean? Like
I've seen some things where people have, where they've linked people with like habits they have.
Yeah.
Like somebody will write like a whole paragraph and they'll use proper punctuation the whole time through, but then the last sentence, they'll never put a period on it. They'll like go through and be like, okay, this person has been doing this habit for years. It's pretty unique.
That's interesting.
It's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's not going to like crack the case or anything. But yeah, those kind of things I think are interesting, like those habit type of things.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
But yeah, I agree. You could just flip your handwriting, you know.
I would think, right? Yeah,
I
I'm
would
not
think
buying
so.
that.
I would think you can disguise your handwriting pretty easily.
You know, we talk about these eyewitness accounts too. I think those have been proven like over time that those are probably the least
very not great.
Yeah, like people just misremember things and they want to believe that that's the right person.
Like from the people we've already discussed, you're talking about.
Yeah,
even?
when I say they picked his photo out, and like those are just unreliable accounts.
Well, the thing we'll see too with a lot of these guys is that they match the description, but tons of guys at this during the 60s had a crew cut and dark frame glasses.
Like every other guy.
Yeah, it wasn't like
you were that, or you had a hippie hair, or you had this haircut, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You weren't. There wasn't much for individuality, I guess. So, police investigated Allen again in 1991 after an informant facing armed robbery charges said that Allen had boasted to him about killing a cab driver. At that point, Michael Bujok, who survived one of the Vallejo attacks, identified a photo of Allen as the shooter. In the 2007 movie, victim Darlene Farron's sister Linda also identified a photo of Allen as the man she said that stalked her sister. And according to the film, police were closing in when Allen died. We already know that is not accurate from the movie because Darlene Farron's sister identified Lawrence Caine as the guy. So the movie was not accurate in that.
Yeah. They also referenced in the movie that this guy lived at one time like 50 yards from Darlene's house. Like I think that was embellished as well.
Yeah.
You saying Hollywood changed things to make a story better?
And there's a quote from this one police officer. Said, quote, Allen seems like a good suspect as long as you only get information from people who think he's guilty.
God damn.
Yeah. Allen didn't match any witness descriptions of the Zodiac. His fingerprints didn't match those found in Paul Stine's cab that were believed to be the Zodiac's. His palm print didn't match the one that was lifted from one of the Zodiac letters, and his DNA didn't match a partial DNA profile that was created in 2002 from saliva on an envelope believed to be from the Zodiac. I know that DNA sample is disputed as to how good it really is, but he didn't match it.
Those don't necessarily prove anything, though.
That his fingerprints didn't match or anything?
Yeah, like in the book they talked about maybe it was the first cop on the scene that could have touched the body and created those prints.
Yeah, those aren't confirmed prints or anything.
Yeah, or the letter print. I mean, it went through the mailroom at the Chronicle and stuff. So, like, all three of those could have been corrupted pieces of evidence.
Yeah, and there's no there's not multiple fingerprints from different letters that are like the same fingerprint. You know what I mean? That they can go off of. 2 searches of Allen's home found no incriminating evidence. And the police they took samples of his right and left handwriting, and neither of them matched the Zodiac's.
This guy doesn't sound very likely.
No, and like we just said, the movie said that or had it that Darlene Farron's sister ID'd him. That's not true. She ID'd Lawrence Caine in real life, and then the police considered Michael Bujok's photo ID to be weak. That they didn't really put a lot of stock into that. Allen died of a heart attack in 1992. So,
I mean, the movie went hard pointing to this guy. Absolutely is.
Yeah, that's been
the guy.
From what I was looking online, that was a big criticism of this Robert Graysmith that wrote this book, was that he's kind of an asshole, like going hard on this guy for really something that he just thought and that the police didn't really think.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah,
that was in the movie, representing the movie Bujok, photo IDing him as like a crescendo. Oh, this is the guy. He just ID'd him.
Yeah.
Like he came back out of seclusion after, it was like 10, 15 years later. That's definitely him.
He doesn't look anything like the composite sketch at all.
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Well, now what do we do? I thought from the movie this was the guy. Now I don't know what to do.
We're gonna throw.
I don't know what to think.
We're gonna throw some more at you, Dave, and see what sticks.
Richard Marshall This guy was a ham radio operator and a movie projectionist that lived in Riverside in 1966, and then later in San Francisco near where Paul Stine was murdered.
Art Bell was a big ham radio guy.
Yeah. Yep.
He did ads for them, didn't he?
For ham radios?
Yeah.
Ham radio is like the
amateur radio.
Like amateur
radio.
You
see the guys with the special license plate driving around with the big antennas on the roof of their cars with their call sign.
One of those episodes I listened to on the Coast to Coast thing, he was doing some ad for like some kind of ham radio.
Huh?
He's big into...
Yeah.
You can only do so much with those before you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
What? Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know the damn first thing about ham radios. But I know if like you're talking about the wrong shit on there, you can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah,
with the
sense.
FCC and whatever.
You can also talk to people in China and shit, though. So
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Can't talk on a radio, can't look in windows. What the fuck can you do anymore? It's not my country.
Probably can't even spit on the sidewalk. It's probably illegal.
Next thing you know, I can't piss on a tree.
So visitors that went to this guy's house told police that they found him peculiar and that he talked about finding, quote, something much more exciting than sex.
Interesting.
Yeah. Marshall also liked old movies, including The Red Phantom, which was mentioned in one of the 1974 Zodiac letters.
Poor guy just likes a movie. All of a sudden, he's a suspect in a crime.
Yeah. He lived in a basement apartment, which the Zodiac also cited.
In the letter that he lived in the basement?
In one of the letters that he lived in a basement. He owned a typewriter and a teletype similar to those that the Zodiac used. In a 1989 TV interview, Marshall conceded that there were many similarities but denied being the Zodiac. And Napa County Sheriff's Detective Ken Narlow, who pursued the case for decades, said, quote, Marshall makes good reading, but not a very good suspect in my estimation. And Richard Marshall died in a nursing home in 2008. He just sounds like a strange dude.
Yeah.
That people are like, hey, that must be the Zodiac.
This poor guy. Just a weirdo living his life.
Yeah.
You could probably just pluck random people out of that county and come up with pieces of circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, attach your
like
own
this.
rope to him. Be like, well, because he did this must be.
What's like the Son of Sam thing from around this time? How many stories of people that owned what did Son of Sam use, a 44?
45 Bulldog?
Yeah. That people
44 Bulldog.
Yeah,
that's right. And they were just attacking him on the streets.
Look,
beating
that guy's
the fuck
got
out
a
of these
44
people.
caliber.
That must be him. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then the next one we have is Richard Gaikowski. He edited a counterculture newspaper in San Francisco, and a former coworker sent long rambling letters to law enforcement agencies accusing this Richard Gaikowski of being the Zodiac, and said that he invited him to commit violent acts together.
Let's go murder.
This accuser went by the nickname Goldcatcher and appeared in disguise on an episode of History Channel's Mystery Quest in 2009 and provided recordings of Gaikowski's voice. On the show, a police dispatcher who spoke to the Zodiac said she thought it was the same voice. Researcher Tom Voigt also noted that Gyke, Gyke, appears in a part of a Zodiac cipher said to contain his identity.
Like that undeciphered part at the end?
Yeah. This Goldcatcher person was known as a conspiracy theorist with little credibility and was described by one of the San Francisco police inspectors as, quote, one of 3 top Zodiac kooks.
Who were the other 2? Robert Graysmith and the Zodiac himself.
Kooks. I like that word.
When Ken Narlow, that Napa detective, interviewed Gaikowski, the journalist claimed he was out of the country at the time of the 1968 murders on Lake Herman Road, but had lost his passport. San Francisco and Napa police denied requests to compare a DNA sample from Gaikowski with the Zodiac's, and he died in 2004. So
there's a theme going.
Yeah, well, it sounds like they were like, hey, you know what? This guy is not even a suspect in our minds, so we're not going to spend the money on testing this.
Did we ever unmask Goldcatcher? Do we know who he is?
I could not find who Goldcatcher is.
Interesting.
Goldcatcher does sound kind of like a kook that got himself onto
Mystery Quest?
Yeah, Mystery Quest.
I'm Goldcatcher. Well, I guess Goldcatcher had the last laugh. He outlived Gaikowski.
Yeah. I wonder if or what the fuck's his name?
Goldquester? Goldcatcher.
Goldquester. Now we're just fucking everything up. Goldquester, Goldcatcher, Gaikowski, Kooks, Catcher.
If you haven't already, check out Necronomipod on CastBox, a top podcast app on iOS and Android with more than 28 million users worldwide. CastBox has a brand new way to find content you'll love. Just enter a keyword or phrase, and the app searches the show titles and transcripts of every single episode to deliver exactly what you're looking for. Download CastBox today and see for yourself.
This was one I knew coming in off of this too, aside from Arthur Allen. Mm-hmm. So the next one is Earl Van Best Jr. In his 2014 book, The Most Dangerous Animal of All, Gary Stewart made the case that his biological father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac. Stewart said his father resembled the composite sketch of the Zodiac, lived in California at the time of the killings, was interested in ciphers, knew a Satanist and a Manson family member, and liked Gilbert and Sullivan.
That's a long stretch of interesting facts.
Van Best also served time in prison for statutory rape of Stewart's mother and may have held a grudge against San Francisco Chronicle reporter Paul Avery, who wrote a series of articles about this whole statutory rape thing.
Did he dislike his father?
I don't know. I don't know if there was something personal there or what exactly, why he wrote articles about it. Stewart claimed to have found his father's initials in the Zodiac ciphers, and a document examiner said that the handwriting on Best's marriage certificate matched the Zodiac's. Although their fingerprints didn't match, a mark that could have been a scar was visible in Earl and Van Best that were also found in Stein's cab. So the one that was found in the taxi murder had a scar on the finger, and they're saying that this Earl Van Best guy also had a scar. Yeah. This guy's book got a ton of publicity, but experts dismissed most of its claim. The method he used to crack the cipher is questionable. The fingerprint mark was similar to the Zodiac's only if it was reversed, and the handwriting on the marriage certificate was the minister's. It was not his father's.
This motherfucker's just trying to sell some books.
Yeah, and his dad died in 1984.
Poor Earl Van Best lived probably a very innocent life, and here we are 20 years later, 30 years later, and this guy's being brought up on possibly being the Zodiac Killer.
Based on literally nothing.
Based on his fucking shithead of a son.
Yeah.
Trying to get a payday. Yeah, you just took apart all the evidence in like 10 seconds.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
was he must have been adopted or something. He doesn't even have the same last name.
You see, I said biological father, so I don't know if it's like, if he was adopted.
Friction going on in here.
Yeah. So that's all nothing. That's not even
it's
real.
It's a big stinking no-no.
Yeah.
He wrote a whole book about it too.
Yeah. He got a lot. That's one that I knew coming in.
Did you read that book?
No. But I knew of this guy coming off
because
coming into this because of that book.
We should just write a book and just make up someone and write it as this is the person, and we'll just put Zodiac all over it and it'd fucking sell.
How many cults have we done? And especially teaser for next week. You just say whatever the fuck you want.
Someone will buy it.
And you make money.
Yeah.
Just say whatever you want.
I wonder if anyone will pick up on what you just teased.
You just say whatever you want, man.
I mean, I think we could reasonably call ourselves subject matter experts on a lot of this stuff at this point, correct?
Well, I considered myself that before I started this podcast. So. Just wait till Ted Bundy. I'll just run the whole show.
Is it that guy from Mississippi?
Yeah. Born and raised in Jackson. But we'll get into that.
So this is another book from a guy claiming that his stepfather was the Zodiac.
I sense a pattern here.
Yeah. So this suspect's name is Jack Tarrance. Dennis Kaufman also received a lot of publicity claiming that his late stepfather, Jack Tarrance, was the Zodiac. Kaufman said that Tarrance looked exactly like the composite sketch and claimed to have a stash of incriminating evidence including a roll of film depicting possible victims and a bizarre hooded costume like the one that Zodiac wore during the Lake Berryessa stabbings. On a 2007 Discovery Channel documentary, a document examiner said Tarrance's handwriting matched the Zodiac's. I feel like these people just say whatever they want to say on TV.
Yeah,
This is,
exactly.
again, you can just say whatever you want, and you're good to go.
I'm a handwriting analyst. Based on what?
I just said
My
I am.
research.
I
It's like
compared
me
them. They
saying
look the
Ted
same
Bundy.
to me.
I'm a self-proclaimed Ted Bundy expert based on what? I said so. My friend Ian knows a lot about him, so I assume I know a lot about him as well.
There you go.
Osmosis.
Boom, roasted. Fuck you, Dr. Phil. Next question.
Law enforcement dismissed Kaufman's evidence as just complete nonsense. One photo showed a blob of color that he claimed was the Black Dahlia victim, Elizabeth Short.
Oh, that's right. This is the guy that thinks he killed the Black Dahlia, too.
Yeah, this guy's just,
Yeah, I remember this.
yeah. The hooded costume Kaufman produced was much cruder than what the victims described. Like, it was just real shitty. Researchers also challenged the document examiner's credibility.
Oh, you don't say.
Because she believed that Tarrance had also written the John Benet Ramsey ransom note.
This guy's all over the place.
So, and this guy, Tarrance, he died in 2006. So his name was just getting dragged through the dirt. So,
Don't think it's him.
no.
No.
What evidence do you have to support that idea?
Well, he hand wrote the John Benet Ramsey ransom note. Another future episode.
Oh, yeah, for
Hinting
sure.
at that. She's been on the schedule. That story's been on the schedule a couple times.
Yeah, she
Keeps getting bumped. Yeah.
And the next guy we're going to get to, his name is Donald Leigh Bujok. The hooded man who escaped the couple at Lake Berryessa said that he had just escaped from prison in Montana, according to Ryan Hartnell, who survived the attack. So that's the one where he gave that whole kind of BTK line in the beginning. He said, I just escaped from prison. I just need to. So Brian Hartnell said specifically, this guy said he escaped from a prison in Montana.
Even that's questionable, though, because the cop on scene said that they said Colorado, right?
Right, yeah. This is like like you said, eyewitness accounts. Things get foggy.
Yeah, I don't know what I remember after I just got stabbed in the back 5-6 times, you know?
Right. Researcher Kevin Robert Brooks developed a lengthy circumstantial case implicating Donald Leigh Bujok, who was released in 1968 from Montana's Deer Lodge Penitentiary after serving 11 years of a life sentence for killing a sheriff's deputy. Which I thought that was a little strange that you get out from killing a cop after 11 years. I don't know how that works.
Good behavior.
Yeah. According to Brooks, fellow inmates said Donald Leigh had talked about killing people to make them slaves in the afterlife, which was a big theme in the Zodiac letters.
I do recall that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got those memorized.
Yeah, I had to read those over and over and over and over.
People loved it, though.
No, I don't think they did.
Zodiac Mike, I think people loved.
Me,
I didn't love listening.
in my
you being
normal
you.
voice, stumbling over words. There was no character there. That was legitimately me sweating, trying to put together functional sentences.
Brooks claimed that the Halloween card sent to reporter Paul Avery depicted harsh conditions at the prison, and that the quote "boo" on the inside referenced Bujok's name.
All right.
I don't look at that card and think harsh prison conditions. I just but whatever. Donald Leigh had been discharged from the Army for mental health reasons, and Brooks alleged that the markings on some Zodiac envelopes spelled out Zodiac is a veteran with 4F.
Which is the, dishonorable discharge code?
Yeah.
Or the mental health discharge code?
Right.
Is that what that is? I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
People get a 4F.
Brooks also speculated that the Zodiac signature crosshair circle symbol was inspired by the helicopter landing pad at Fort Odd, California, where Donald Leigh had been stationed.
We're really stretching.
This
one.
guy might be the first or second Zodiac kook to go along with it.
So where did this Brooks guy come from? What's he called? A researcher, Kevin Robert Brooks.
I'm technically a researcher.
Yeah, anyone's a researcher.
I could be a researcher for something. Donald Lee's fingerprints did not match those believed to be the Zodiac's. A park ranger at Lake Berryessa claimed that Hartnell said that the prison was in Colorado, not Montana, like you said. Donald Lee was released just 3 days before the Zodiac's Lake Herman Road killings. Some researchers think that he would have difficulty traveling across 3 states in that amount of time, which I think that would be pretty fucking hard.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
I did find 4F, actually, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to add this in. 4F is a classification given to someone trying to join, indicating that he or she is, quote, not acceptable for service in the armed forces due to medical, dental, or other reasons.
Well, he's a veteran with a 4F, so he must have been able to join at some point.
So maybe it was a medical reason or a psychiatric reason that he was discharged. Sure. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Donald Lee was incarcerated during the Sherry Joe Bates murder and other early killings that may have been the Zodiac's, and he died in 1993.
So how does researcher Brooks square that? He doesn't believe the earlier killings were the Zodiac?
He must not.
Yeah.
I would assume.
I don't think there's much here.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
As a Zodiac expert, I'm speaking as.
Well, we all are. We've done 2 parts on this now, and everyone listening's an expert.
Very true.
When you listen to us, you become experts.
It's one way to look at it.
We were Time Magazine's most well-researched podcast of the year.
Yeah?
Well, as I dreamt it last night. So, counts for something, right?
Counts for everything.
Can you imagine if we ever got nominated for like a podcast award? Maybe like the Drunkies. Just like a podcast for drunk motherfuckers.
Biggest assholes.
Yeah. Cancer of the Funny Bone Award goes to Dave and Mike from Necronomipod. Ian wins the Potato Soup Award. His soothing voice will put you to sleep like a twice-baked potato.
So, and then this next one, we were kind of hometown hero over here with this guy. Which I don't love his name.
Nope.
Edward Wayne Edwards. I don't love that.
Was a wrestler, Eddie Edwards.
Really?
Yeah. The end.
Strange name to pick if you have the same last names.
Edward Edwards.
Throwing me off a little bit. Ohio area serial killer Edward Edwards, who is known to have murdered at least 5 victims, lived in Northern California during each of the Zodiac murders in the late 1960s, and would have at the time closely matched the Zodiac's description. According to his daughter, there are many circumstantial hints that would imply Edwards as the Zodiac Killer. According to her, he had an obsession with the case, and she said that he would make the kids watch news reports on the Zodiac Killer and would like yell at the TV, quote, "That's not how it happened," during some of the reports.
That's not what I did.
I mean, that's not what I think he did.
John Cameron claimed in a book published in 2014 that the last 18 symbols of the 408 cipher decoded to, quote, "I'm Edward E. Vexed IQ hath you greater than I."
Okay.
But
what does
again,
that mean?
but again,
now you know how I felt reading all those sentences last week.
that cipher's never been solved. So I mean, the FBI has debunked most claims that people have made about that. So
well, the last row, right?
Is that the 408?
The 408's the one that was solved, except for like the last 18 characters or whatever it was.
Okay.
So I guess he's claiming he
cracked
the last.
But then there's also a lot of very credible people in the FBI and stuff that say that was just a garbage cipher at the end. It's just nonsense. I don't know. This guy that wrote the book, this Cameron, also noted that Edwards was in Deer Lodge and was an anonymous source for an article titled, quote, "Zodiac Killer Leads," published on March 21st, 1971 in the Akron Beacon Journal, found in his personal papers after he died. So this guy at least was writing in anonymously about the Zodiac.
I guess I'd like to know what anonymous source means as far as what information he may have provided.
Yeah.
Anonymous source is a broad term. This one's intriguing, though.
Some guy just trying to get some attention, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, he's already an asshole. We know he killed at least 5 people, so he's already got that whole probably wanting attention bullshit anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many serial killers, right? So if you have another serial killer and you can place him in that area at that time, I mean, that's a bigger probability than some of these other nonsense circumstantial things.
Right. This next one's super interesting to me. I would love to just like dive into this on a bigger scale than just the Zodiac stuff.
Yeah, I remember this guy.
This guy's name is Robert Ivan Nichols, also known as Joseph Newton Chandler III. He was formerly unidentified identity thief who committed suicide in Eastlake, Ohio in July of 2002. So another hometown hero.
Boom, we're rocking the shit tonight.
After his death, investigators were unable to locate his family and discovered he had stolen the identity of an 8-year-old boy who was killed in a car crash in Texas in 1945. The lengths to which he went to hide his identity led to the speculation that he was some kind of a violent fugitive. In late 2016, U.S. Marshals Service in Cleveland, Ohio, announced that forensic genealogist Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick of Identifiers International had compared his DNA profile to the public genetic genealogy DNA databases to determine his possible last name was Nicholas.
I know you could pick someone's last name. How does that work?
I guess just going down the line.
Or do you pick everyone in
them
in a certain range and you get possible names based on those people? That's interesting.
I guess so. Yeah.
Well, in 2017, Dr. Fitzpatrick, along with Dr. Margaret Press, formed a nonprofit called the DNA Doe Project and went back and revisited this case by analyzing this guy's DNA again. In March 2018, the DNA Doe Project identified the man as Robert Ivan Nichols. The U.S. Marshal Service announced this identification at a press conference in Cleveland on June 21st, 2018. They still believed that he was a fugitive of some kind, and there were a ton of theories out there of what he could have been running from, which none of them were confirmed. Some internet sleuths suggested that he could have been the Zodiac Killer because he resembled police sketches of the Zodiac and had lived in California at the time that Zodiac operated. Another theory was that he was Stephen Campbell, an engineer from Cheyenne, Wyoming, who was wanted for attempted murder. And authorities also considered that he could have been a German soldier or Nazi official from World War II who had escaped to the United States. So I don't think he has any connection to the Zodiac killing at all, but it's super interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird story.
Of like, who the fuck is this guy? It's really
what did he do?
Yeah.
Like, that's the interesting part of that story.
Right.
I don't think he's in any way connected to the Zodiac.
And the DNA thing, like, I dumbed that down, but the DNA stuff was fascinating. Like, they only pulled, I think, like, the first time they tested, they only pulled, like, the Y parts of his DNA, and then they found, like, a new testing. They pulled another section. Like, they really dug into his DNA to try and figure out who he was.
So it was like a 16-year mystery locally. They couldn't, they just didn't know who this guy was.
Yeah.
They determined his identity was fake, but they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
It's neat.
And now we'll move on to probably the most wacky one of all of them. Ted Kaczynski.
Dun, dun, dun.
So most people know who Ted is, but he was arrested in 1996 for the Unabomber crimes. He was responsible for sending multiple bombs that resulted in 3 deaths and 23 injuries. And he was also linked to MKUltra testing that was done while he attended Harvard University. And we'll 100% be doing an episode on him in the future because his case is fascinating.
We talked about that on the MKUltra episode, and all the fucked up shit that they did to him.
Yeah,
that's right, we did.
And that'll be real interesting to get into real detail, the MKUltra stuff that was done on him.
Mike, where can folks find that MKUltra episode?
They can find that in the archives. Whole episode on it.
So when Ted was arrested in 1996, San Francisco detectives investigated the possibility that he could also be the Zodiac Killer. The new twist in the investigation was spurred by amateur sleuths who discovered the similarities between Kaczynski's profile and Zodiac's behavior. According to investigators, Ted lived in the Bay Area from 1967 to 1969, during the time that Zodiac committed at least 5 murders in late 68 and in the summer and fall of 1969. Also, a man similar in appearance to Ted was seen near one of those crime scenes. But what's the weirdest part of the whole thing with him is that Ted Kaczynski signed a high school yearbook with the same symbol as the Zodiac logo, the cross-haired circle.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very strange that he would just sign his yearbook as that. But the FBI and San Francisco police both said no, he's not the Zodiac Killer.
And for what specific reason? So they just that
fingerprints and handwriting.
Okay.
But it's really strange that he used that logo to sign.
Was there anything going on back then where people used that logo, or?
I don't know. I didn't even know it was a thing. I thought it was something that the Zodiac Killer just kind of made up. I didn't even know it was on like a watch face or anything like that. So
it was on a watch. So I mean, it was around.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That would be wild if that was the case.
You have one more that I didn't even hear of.
So there's some fringe theories out there, and one of the ones that I came across is that Donald Harden, the guy who, along with his wife, decoded the 408 cipher, that he was actually the Zodiac.
That would be
hiding
wild.
in plain sight.
And yet he was the only one able to solve them.
That's one of the things that, like, the naval intelligence, all these people couldn't crack this cipher, but this guy,
this random
teacher did.
Yeah.
Because if he made the cipher himself, he would obviously be able to crack it.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Then he could have said, like, oh, yeah, but there's this string at the end that I can't figure out.
Exactly. ...
Here,
so here's some interesting facts I'll give you guys from my research here. So remember when the Zodiac called into the Jim Dunbar show and he offered to meet Melvin Belli? He offered to meet him at 6726 Mission Street. Mm-hmm. Well, Harden's phone number at the time ended in 6726. What are the odds? It's a pretty big coincidence.
That is.
Damn.
The crosshair symbol in the 408 cipher stood for D. D for Donald. We're getting closer here now.
Yep.
All right.
I think we found our guy.
Future
Case
Zodiac
closed.
letters. I'm sorry, what?
I said case closed.
I don't even need to go on.
I think we'll see you guys next week.
Future Zodiac letters never mentioned Harden, even though he cracked the initial code. Like, don't you think Zodiac might have been pissed off at the guy, but yet he never, said anything about him?
That's an interesting. That's an interesting point.
That's interesting.
Like, you figure the way those rambling letters and all the stuff he said he would.
Oh, we are aware of those rambling letters.
Maybe you could remind folks about those letters and read all of them again real quick.
Boy, you could check them out in the archives. Zodiac Part 1. Go back 1 week.
Okay, then you have the obligatory handwriting analysis. Somebody did an analysis and they look similar. So that was like, okay, some handwriting analyst.
I like this whole idea of just saying that you are something.
Yeah,
I'm going to start doing it. I'm a researcher because technically I am.
I think at this point you actually are a researcher.
I'm just going to start going on TV shows.
Yeah.
So then,
researcher.
That'll be our YouTube videos that we talked about.
Researcher.
So the Zodiac said that in that 408 cipher, his identity would be made public when they decoded it. What if solving it was what he meant? Because Donald solved the cipher, so now we know his name, and so it actually, the 408 cipher gave everyone his identity.
Wow. That's not bad.
Tricky, huh?
That's not bad.
And there's several other odd coincidences. I couldn't go into all of them, but the last one I want to mention is that somebody wrote a confession in a copy of Grace Smith's book in the Salinas Library and signed it Betty Harden, which is very strange.
Weird.
That's where those guys were from, Salinas.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anyone could sign Betty Harden's name, and
But that's just weird.
It'd be pretty funny.
Her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some weird things to think about.
Yeah.
That's strange.
That would be a master stroke if that turned out to be true.
Yeah.
What happened to them? Do we know?
I think they're dead.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be something else.
Genius level.
I got a Harden just thinking about it.
Was it my voice or was it the source material?
Just how exciting that would be if that was actually them. God.
Yeah, that would be crazy. There's some interesting coincidences with
I
that.
know. And there's more too. I couldn't go into all of them, but it's pretty wild.
So,
There's
Ian, what
an-
are your thoughts?
You know,
Ian?
let me give you
Go
one
ahead.
last one. If you go into the decoded 408 cipher, there's you can string like letters together. You know, they're not right next to each other, but like diagonally, and it spells out like Donald, Harden, teacher, Salinas. Like all those words are in there.
Really?
Enough to like to do a straight line to them.
Wow.
In little clusters. I thought that was weird.
God damn.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we should write a book on this and then just be experts on that. The Hardens.
It's interesting. I like this one.
So who do you guys think? Who's the...
This Harden one kind of blew my mind a little bit. It is baffling, and I've been thinking about that since last week's episode. It's baffling that just two school teachers randomly figured this out. Nobody else could do it. These two could. And now you stack up some of that evidence. Like that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah. Prior to that, I was Lawrence Caine.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Because it's two different geographic areas connected by eyewitness accounts at both.
Yeah.
Right.
That goes a long way, I think.
And he looks just like the composite sketches.
But this Harden thing is fascinating.
Yeah. That's
It's a curveball for sure.
Yeah.
So are we all thinking Lawrence Caine? Is that all we were kind of leaning towards? Or Dave, what were you?
Yeah, I think so.
Based on this, I think based on what we talked about today, I think he has to be.
I don't think any of these other ones are even remotely plausible. I thought the Earl, what's his name? Leigh,
Arthur
Allen.
Yeah.
Based on the movie, I'm like, oh, goddamn, that guy did it. But now when you start going through all this, you're like, yeah, half that wasn't even real.
They just made it all up.
Yeah.
So Lawrence Caine seems the most plausible to me at this point.
Yeah. But the Harden thing is real interesting.
Ian might be doing a deep dive here in a minute.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're going to be doing a bonus episode on the Hardens here in a couple of weeks. We'll follow up. It's just wild that there's something like, is this... So the torso murders and this are the two that we've talked about that haven't been solved, right?
Right, yeah.
And I guess torso murders were so long ago, like you can't have the conversation of who potentially could have done it.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. I mean, we're given more questions than we are answers here today.
Oh, for
you
sure.
want to think you're going to eventually figure this out, like, you know, they just solved the Golden State Killer after all those years, but there was just a lot more physical evidence in that case that just doesn't exist, I think, in this one. So I don't know that you're ever going to get a resolution to this.
I don't think
it's very unlikely, I think.
You might not get a resolution, but you can get a Zodiac Necronomicon shirt on Amazon.com right now.
Are those available now, Mike?
Right now. Go to Amazon.com, search Necronomicon. We have brand new Zodiac t-shirts that are badass. People are loving them.
They really are fucking cool shirts.
Plus, we got the Mr. Muggs back up there. We got the logo t-shirt and the abduction one. And
even a hoodie.
And they're available in hoodie style. Are they all, or is it just the...
just the Zodiac.
The Zodiac right now. The Zodiac right now is available in t-shirt. And that comes men's and women. All t-shirts you can get in men and women's. There's multiple color selections for each. The Zodiac is available in t-shirt, long sleeve, premium tee, and hoodie. And then you can get your other shirts in t-shirt, men's or women's style.
And long sleeve.
And long sleeve. And we'll add more too as we're able to. But currently available. Go to Amazon.com and search Necronomipod. The links are also on our socials. That was a cheap plug. I just snuck in there when you...
Well done.
Yeah. Boom.
I loved it.
That's how you do it. Ian, you got anything else on Zodiac? We're wrapping up 2 weeks here.
Nothing more.
You're probably sick and tired of this. You've done a lot of research.
I fully admit my mind has been on the next subject.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
We're going to have a little fun with the next one. The last 2 weeks, we haven't had as much fun.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible murders. 2, we don't know who it is, so we can't rag on that person.
Yeah, right.
I think we're going to make up for it the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully it didn't come off like I've been checked out, but I have 100% been checked out. On to the next subject.
Way to admit just now. Right there. He's like, on.
Clean bill of health.
He's 2 weeks ahead of us. All right. Well, so he's clearly got nothing else on Zodiac. He hasn't had anything on him in 3 weeks. Dave, you got anything else on Zodiac?
No, I do have one follow-up from last week when we were talking about the blue meanies reference in Zodiac's letters.
Yes.
I was informed by a friend of mine that's a reference to the antagonist in the Beatles' Yellow Submarine.
Talking about police, though? Because wasn't he referencing police?
I think so.
And
I guess that's where that term
from
originated, blue meanie.
Well, that makes sense.
So, thanks for the update.
All right, couple shout outs today for new patrons. Thank you very much to Chloe Humphreys, Dakota Schaefer, and Sarah Snyder. We appreciate you guys signing up for Patreon. Hope we don't let you guys down. We're going to have bonus episodes. We just had Art Bell come out this past Thursday for Halloween. 3 episodes a month. Well worth that $5.
Well worth it.
Patreon.com/Necronomipod. So thank you, Chloe, Dakota, and Sarah. We appreciate the support. Ian, what do you got for us?
For iTunes, I have one for Chloe Michaela. iTunes like I said last week, I keep seeing 5-star ones pop up, but like then I saw this written one from her come up way after, so I wonder if there's something wrong with how like they're like behind. So if we missed you, we'll get to you eventually.
It just might not have popped up yet.
Yeah,
on the
but
reviews.
But Chloe Michaela, and she also says that a hot dog is a sandwich.
I agree.
So we're bringing this argument
100%
back.
agree. A hot dog's a fucking
agree,
sandwich.
too.
What was the other version though? I can't remember what the argument was.
That
though.
it's not a sandwich.
But then what would it be?
That's
Just-
what I asked
just a
them.
hot dog.
That's what I asked them.
It would be a
I've had someone once
sausage.
try telling me it's a taco because it's
that's
on like
absurd.
it's not cut through. It's on like a bun, sideways. And I was like, well, then by that standard, Subway and Jimmy John's are taco places because that's how their buns are.
Yeah. All right.
So get the fuck out of here with that taco talk. Although a hot dog taco does sound pretty good. Count me in on that. Anyways.
You got to get up pretty early in the morning to beat Mike, and this is his area of expertise here.
Yeah.
When it comes to hot dogs, I'm the man. Dave, what shout outs you got?
From Twitter, Josh Hall. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We are on all the socials at Necronomipod. As I said earlier, merchandise is all up on Amazon. We got all kinds of tees and hoodies and long sleeves and all the fun stuff. Go to Amazon, search Necronomipod, or check us out. The links are posted on our socials. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Necronomipod. Let us know your feedback, any thoughts you guys might have, any reviews you might have. You can call Ian a potato, Dave and I cancer, whatever you want to do. These are some of the best ones, but we love hearing from you guys. So reach out to us. Thanks a lot for listening.
Are you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.